event. The B7 is a rare and vital opportunity for leaders from business and government to get together, albeit virtually, to discuss critical issues such as trade, the digital world, climate, and of course, health. The last 12 to 18 months have presented unparalleled change and challenge for business and business leaders. Like you all, no doubt, I've spent a lot of time worrying about how we do the right thing by our employees and our business, how we protect our people's physical and mental health, maintain jobs, and continue to deliver outstanding work for our clients. I am immensely proud of Deloitte's response to this challenge, and also the efforts of the wider business community. As Deloitte's Global Chair, I am fortunate to speak with leaders from across all sectors of the economy and from many countries around the world. And I am heartened by the dedication, commitment and care so many have demonstrated during this crisis by prioritising doing the right thing by their people, business and society as a whole, and rising to the challenges that we have all faced as a community and as leaders. This period has also provided time to reflect on the state of the world and what matters to each of us as individuals, be that work, family, community, something I've often discussed with my husband whilst out walking our 2 dogs. Now, if last year has taught us anything, it's that with collaboration and shared goals, business really can be a catalyst for change in the world. And it is in this spirit of optimism, hope and collaboration that I would like to address the next great challenge for business, and something I care passionately about, climate change. The science is undeniable. Coupled with the extreme and devastating weather events that we increasingly see unfold around the world, climate change is now too serious to ignore. Simply being less bad is no longer good enough. Humanity and the planet are facing an existential threat, and we need businesses and governments to commit to meaningful and measurable action now. Not only is this the right thing to do for society, but it makes business sense. As the saying goes, there are no jobs on a dead planet. And many businesses are already living this stark reality. In Deloitte's latest climate check survey, for example, 1/3 of executives told us their businesses had suffered negative operational impacts due to environmental disasters, with 1/4 of all of those asked admitting that they're already facing a scarcity of resources due to climate change. And if that does not drive action, then the demands of our current and future investors, consumers, and employees will. It's clear that climate action is no longer a request, but an expectation. According to Deloitte's annual survey of millennials and Gen Zs, who now make up over 80% of Deloitte's workforce globally, climate change is their number 1 priority. So what can businesses do? I have 3 suggestions. The first is to get our own house in order. For Deloitte, we're doing this through our World Climate Initiative, a global strategy to drive responsible climate choices both inside our business and beyond. And we've committed to achieve net zero by 2030, for example, by cutting business travel in half, ensuring all our buildings are powered by renewable energy, and converting 100% of our fleet to electric vehicles. Our goals have been accredited by the Science Based Targets Initiative, and we're working with our major suppliers for them to adopt science-based targets within the next 5 years. And we will report our emissions annually in line with TCFD requirements. At Deloitte, we believe that tackling climate change is not a choice, it's billions of them. The second step is to continue to invest in and scale innovations and technology that will curtail human impact on the environment. Getting our house in order, cutting our emissions, and offsetting our impact, all of these are essential, but they're not enough. We need to embrace a more holistic and all-encompassing approach. Across the world, every sector and society must recognise the need for radical change. A diverse set of societal and economic forces, from fluid and shifting consumer preferences to the rise of stakeholder capitalism and growing demands for climate action, now will drive the transition. Reaching net zero will require the global economy to be transformed beyond recognition, which means the synchronized transformation of multiple interdependent and interconnected systems, not just in the most obvious sectors like energy, but across mobility, construction, food, land use, consumer products, manufacturing, and the health and wellness sectors. To this end, the importance of investment and the role of the financial services sector cannot be underestimated. Finance is the spearhead that will drive this change and will allow every sector to adopt new technologies, processes, and business models to not only shape but thrive in the new world. But the single biggest thing that businesses can do is to collaborate, to retain the spirit of common purpose, which has been so evident over the last year, to keep talking, to learn from one another, to share information, data, and ideas, working together and with governments to drive the system changes that we all need to see. It's why events such as the B7 CEO Summit are so important. And as Paul Polman put it to me recently, the only way to solve this crisis is to come together in the spirit of radical collaboration, one that is based on trust, transparency, and accountability. Deloitte is committed to playing our part in facilitating and leading this collaboration. Our unique role in the ecosystem allows us to bring together business across industries and across geographies. For example, I'm very proud of our recent transactions in the US with Delta and American Airlines to procure sustainable aviation fuel to reduce emissions from our employee business air travel. The purchase agreements represent a combined life cycle emissions reduction of over 4,000 metric tons of carbon dioxide. As well as innovating to reduce the damage, we are also using technology to help preserve and protect the planet. For example, Deloitte in the Netherlands is working on the World Wild Fund for Nature's early warning system project. This system prevents illegal deforestation through an artificial intelligence solution that predicts where illegal deforestation will happen based on satellite images and other geographical data. Now, it's important to remember that the race to net zero is not a competition, and it will require businesses to work with their direct competitors. For the last 2 years, for example, Deloitte has been working with the World Economic Forum, International Business Council, and teams from across the Big Four to develop a consistent set of ESG metrics, with many of the IBC companies signing up to apply them, including Deloitte. Now, this is a really important step on the journey to a single global systemic solution for ESG reporting, which will ensure that businesses' contributions towards the Sustainable Development Goals can be measured in a consistent and comparable way, ultimately allowing investors, consumers, and employees to make better informed decisions about where to allocate capital, where to shop, and where to work. The challenges presented by the climate crisis are enormous, and they are many, and no country, industry, or organisation can solve them alone. Business, of course, needs the support of government through investment and regulation to make the necessary change. But business response to the pandemic over the last year has shown us what can be achieved through collaboration and focus. Several effective vaccines in mass production, rapid response to strained and sometimes broken international supply chains, and a complete transformation to a flexible model of working, all in just 12 months. As we look ahead to COP26, I am optimistic that as a business community, we can again rise to the challenge and tackle the threat of climate change. The last 12 months has allowed us to think about what we want the future to look like. So now is the time to ask ourselves what more we can do as a group, as human beings and business leaders, to create the kind of world that we want to leave behind for the next generation. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon, for those inspiring remarks, and also for real leadership and real actions. I wrote down loads of stuff there. Let's, before we wrap up the opening session, I wonder if I can just come back to you on some of those things that we talked about. You talked about